All right, internet, help me out. I'm either a complete and total fucking idiot and missing something completely obvious, or my shit's broken, or some combination thereof. So I've had this bike and been working on it for about 5 years. I've done a lot of stuff to it. Those of you that have watched this, watched my channel, have seen everything that I've done to it, and probably 75% of the hours I've spent working on this bike have been bleeding these front brakes. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen recently that I bought this Brembo master cylinder. I've got the 0506 GSXR 600 front end on this. I used the master cylinder from that and never could get it to bleed and be firm for more than about 30 minutes at a time. If it sat for more than a couple of hours still, it would come all the way back to the bars, and if I rode it more than about 10 miles, it would come all the way back to the bars and I'd lose front brakes. I saw they had a recall on that master cylinder. I assumed mine just never got replaced. I had rebuilt that when I got it, by the way. It was refreshed when I put it on this bike, but still had those issues. I decided I was done with that and I'm just going to spend the money and get a Brembo, so I bought this Brembo. It is the, I'll put the link down in the thing below. It's a Brembo GP Mark III or something. I don't know. It's the track one that doesn't have the switch. It's basically the RCS 19 without the switch. I assume it's different than that at any rate. Put it on here, bled it. Felt pretty firm after it sat for a little while. It didn't. I've bled this thing and 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 bled this thing, and I'm ready to ride my fucking motorcycle. So help me out. Help me figure out what the hell is wrong with this. I'll show you what is happening to it right now. As you can see, this is with the bleed screw closed. I don't get hardly any pressure. I've got to put this all the way out and pull it back before I get any pressure. So I get pressure at the end of the stroke, as you can see, and it's wobbling on here because I have this top one undone just because that's where the bracket mounts and it's in the way. The whole thing's a clusterfuck, but it's a work in progress. So I can get some pressure there, and when I crack this open, I get just fluid out of here. I don't get air bubbles. If I put it under vacuum, and I open this up, I get air bubbles, air bubbles, air bubbles, air bubbles, air bubbles, and I'm confused. I don't think it's sucking air in around the thing, around this little guy, because it's soft, so there's air in the system, I assume. Let me show you what I mean. Hold on, let me refill this guy and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so I got some fluid in my reservoir here now, so it doesn't run dry. Vacuum hooked up, not vacuumed. Lever all the way out, squeeze it, I get some pressure, pump it 3 or 4 times, crack it open, just fluid. One little air bubble there, but that's, I mean, there, just fluid. Just fluid. Okay. Pump it up. Crack it open. Air bubbles, air bubbles, air bubbles. Air bubbles, air bubbles, air bubbles. But like, I mean, this all fits really well. It holds vacuum. So I'm led to believe that those bubbles are coming from that, but I've been doing this for 2.5 hours now, straight through. Just refill this, vacuum it, suck it. Refill this, vacuum it, suck. I don't know where the air is coming from. There's nowhere for the air to be coming from anymore. I have bled the calipers. I hooked the vacuum up to the calipers and left it under vacuum for a little while to hopefully get the air bubbles to pop out of it. I whacked on the calipers and the lines and the master cylinder under vacuum. various combinations of, I should keep this from running dry, various combinations of lever all the way open, lever all the way closed, zip tied to the bar. I'm frustrated. Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me that I'm a complete and total idiot and I'm missing something obvious. Because the next step is just throw all this in the garbage and spend $1,000 on a new brake system. Which I don't want to do because I bought this bike for $900. And I've got a few $1,000s into it since then just on stuff. But like, I'm confused. The calipers were rebuilt when I got it. Well, I rebuilt them. I bought the front end and I rebuilt the whole thing. I rebuilt the forks with new seals. I rebuilt the calipers with new seals. I'll put a picture up in here if I can get one to put in here of what they looked like. So new caliper rebuilds. I've got new crush washers all the way through. Everything is cinched down, everything's tight. It doesn't leak. It sat here in my garage for months and there's no brake fluid anywhere. So there's not a leak in the system where it's coming out of. If there were a leak where air can get in, then brake fluid would be coming out. And it's not. I don't get brake fluid leaks anywhere. It doesn't consume fluid, it doesn't consume brake fluid, it's not it's not leaking. The system is tight. But I bleed and I bleed and I bleed and I bleed and I bleed.
I'll wipe and I'll wipe and I'll wipe and I'll wipe 100 times.
And my lever is squishy. Someone tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me that I'm a complete and total idiot and I missed something. Because I've been working on cars and motorcycles for 25 years and I've never had an issue like this with brakes. You bleed them. You pump it up, you squeeze it, you crack open the bleed valve, you let it come out, you squeeze down the bleed valve, you let off the lever. Rinse and repeat until you stop getting bubbles. I don't get bubbles when I do it that way, but I get bubbles here. I mean, maybe it's sucking in some air from here or here. It's possible. Maybe that's what's going on, but then that doesn't explain my squishy bar, my squishy lever. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Seriously, like I'm confused and I'm frustrated, and one or two of you are sitting there laughing at me going, oh, well, this motherfucker doesn't know what he's doing. Tell me what I'm doing wrong so that I can make this brand new Brembo work like it's supposed to. Because something's got to go. I'm tired of this bike sitting here and not being able to ride it because I can't stop it. So tell me what I'm doing wrong. Comments below.